What's going on, people? Welcome to the live match reaction. Unfortunately, a disappointing defeat. But before we do get started about the game, even if you're watching replay,
Brilliant. Can you guys hear me all right, chat? Nice. Yeah, look, tough one to take today, guys. I think we're going to have some disagreements about Pino, but let's try and keep it chill because
what start to the show?
it's been hard.
Sorry about that. Whilst I
Hey,
start technical problems, what do you make of it?
mate, I think it was coming a result like that. It's difficult to take because we played so well in the first half. I thought our midfield were better. Kamada and Wharton kind of ran the show in that first half. It was a hard one to take going down the goal. We're going to disagree about Pino today, I think, because he was partly at fault for the first goal and the second goal, and then the last goal was just I just couldn't believe it. It was ridiculous, but yeah, it was a difficult one to take because we played well. That's how I'm going to open it.
Yeah, it was a difficult one. I don't know if you can hear me. I
can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me. Tim, can you just quickly host? I'll just be back in 2 seconds. I just need to sort this out.
Okay. Sure. No problem. Yeah, well, let's look, I thought that third goal, Animal, remind me, man, was it Forest last season where the tie throw in straight to the attacker and comes in, and then that leads it was shades of that. Like that third goal was shades of that, and it just felt like, oh my god. I mean, it doesn't. Well, yeah, go ahead.
You know what likely happened, right? Because I think Mark was just off camera when we saw what we saw. But Pino was running towards the ball that was going away from him. He's probably seen Mark make a motion towards the ball and thinking, okay, I'm going to leave it, get into a different space. But then Mark has changed his mind or something. Miscommunication has happened.
Yeah.
And then Pino has all of a sudden lost that yard or whatever that he had. And then Mark is under it as well because he's moving towards the ball, and all of a sudden he's got to change direction and run back. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. But Pino shouldn't stop on it. He shouldn't.
No, definitely not. And I mean, D, can we hear you now? Are you?
Yeah. I think I'm back. I'm back to normal. I think sums up Palace today. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, definitely.
The
change that potato laptop.
It's not even just a laptop. I don't even know what happened. I just had to restart everything. Then it magically works. But yeah, I think where was I even with the intro? Yeah, if you do enjoy the show, like, subscribe, and most importantly, do get involved. The line is open as well, where you can call into the show by clicking on the pinned comment. But yeah, I mean, my pause just quickly on the game was just frustration. To be fair, I think we deserved to lose. based on the chances we missed. Was never a 3-0 game. Never 3-0 game to City. I think we ended the game with higher XG, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same old problems at Selhurst Park, it feels like, more than anything. I feel like after I've left the ground, this has happened a lot of times where you're just looking back thinking, how did we lose that game and not win it, let alone not get anything out of that game? We created enough chances before their goal, and we simply didn't take them. Simple as. And then for the defending for the first goal, not good enough. Nowhere near good enough to leave Haaland that open for a header. I mean, leave anyone open but Haaland. The first thing you should do if you're a defender in the box, thinking, where's Haaland? Like, that should be the first thing in your mind. And you just missed timing with the ball coming in. And we go down 1-0 second half. Another observation, missed chances and the subs. I thought the subs worked against us. When Kamada went off, there was a little bit of a drop-off, but I think the big drop-off came on when Mateta went off for Nketiah. I thought that was a wrong sub by Glasner. I would have took off Sarr for Nketiah. I would have brought on Uche if you're taking off Mateta to add that physical presence. I think we just made it much more easier for City to defend against us, and they pretty much controlled it. They did control it, and then Uche did come on a bit better. Also, the referee today wasn't great at all, but it was what.
Oh, that's a shocker! It's Darren England.
Yeah, it was expected going into the game. I watched him be the VAR for the Liverpool-Brighton game yesterday. I was watching it, and there was the most clear and obvious red card, dangerous play, and he just completely disregarded it. So I knew what I was coming into. I was mentally prepared for it, but once again, you get annoyed when you see it firsthand with your own eyes how much of a shit ref he is. Like, I don't know how else to word it. I don't understand how he's a referee in the Premier League, in the so-called best league in the world. I don't understand it. I just don't. But move the ref aside. I don't know about you two. Same old problems at Selhurst Park with missed chances. I mean, I don't know how you solve it. I don't think fatigue played a part today, because going into the game, we only had 3 players, and that was the back 3 that played 90 minutes against Shelbourne, and the other players were pretty much rested. I know some did play, such as Walton Kamada, but I thought they were very good until Kamada got injured. So they only played 45 minutes. Mateta hasn't played as much. Well, yeah, he was out for the Shelbourne game. Sarr's been out injured as well. So I don't think fatigue was an excuse today. Maybe we were missing Danny Munoz, and he would have helped us, especially with some of the counters that we had. But yeah, just have to look at ourselves. Have to look at ourselves more than anything. And that's the most annoying thing, because I felt like we've been here so many times this season talking about the same thing. And today, you can't even have that fatigue excuse. You know, you can't. I'm not having it today, because I don't think that was the main reason why we lost today. But what did you lot make of the game, Tim? I'll start off with you. I don't know, Animal spoke.
I mean, it's very frustrating. It's a deeply frustrating result, because there is enough, like what I said on the watch along, D, and we'll see if you agree with this. I think this side has enough to go up against anyone. We created more than enough chances. We got into lots of good situations, put them into some situations where they had to do some really scrappy last-ditch defending. Sorry, alarm's going off. I'll be right back.
No worries. It feels like that kind of day today. Even Tim's alarm going off, my microphone not working. It's all over the place.
I wonder what his alarm is for.
Yeah, exactly. We'll find out. We'll find out in a bit. But going back to you, Animal, clinical, not clinical enough. I mean, what is it? Is it talent issue? Is it skill? Is it fatigue? What do you think it is? I don't know. I don't know what else to say about this. It's just boring. It's boring talking about it, and it's more frustrating when you're there watching it. It's like, come on, you have to be better in front of goal. We created the better chances today from City, but then again, their quality came up because they took their chances and we didn't.
Yeah. I think things just didn't fall for us well today, because we created plenty of chances. So it's just a case of the finishing just not being right, and these guys have got to start getting a little bit more composure about them. I think if Pino needs to take criticism, it's about his composure on the field. Most definitely, I think when he sort of flies into these tackles, he's not being very composed. When he is, getting in on goal, he needs to be more composed in taking that shot. Alex is saying it was probably offside anyway. I'm not sure about that. I don't really remember it that well. But yeah, there are criticisms that these boys need to take, and we just need you to put the ball in the back of the net, and that gives you momentum. But today I think the turning point was the Kamada substitution from the injury. That really hurt us. I thought he was one of probably 3 or 4 of the best players on the pitch. I thought Mitchell had a really good game today. I thought, Gay was his usual high-performing self. And Wharton and Kamada were excellent. And Kamada was that energy. He was that drive. He was winning the ball back. Even when he lost the ball, he turned around and he made a great tackle to win the ball back. Kamada just brings us so much. And for him to go off when he did, I think, it hurt. It hurt us a bit, and we lost a little bit of control in the midfield. And funnily enough, they scored not long after Hughes came on, and it's like Hughes didn't quite get a chance to get into the game. And another thing is that, funnily enough, all of their sort of attacking threat came from their right hand side, whereas you would have thought they would have targeted our left with Kleiny there and no Munoz. So I think if people want to criticize Pino, you could be looking at other players as well and having a little bit more of a balanced opinion on criticism, because I don't think Mateta had a particularly good game today. I don't think Sarr, after his coming back from injury, had a particularly effective game, and he was in good positions where he could have done better with the ball. And I think Kleiny is what it is with Klein. But
yeah, I agree with Sarr. I was actually going to ask you about Sarr and get your thoughts on his performance, because I was a bit surprised about how long he played. Just forget about the injury element to it. I just don't think he had a good game. Decision making wasn't on point. At times, I'm just screaming there, shoot, just take a shot. And he'll make the pass when it's time to make the pass, take the shot. It's just everything was going against it. That's what I felt like, Tim. But what do you make of Sarr's performance today?
No, I agree with that. And I would say, so this is the first time, I think, in a game where I saw a little bit of lack of confidence. That is unusual for this team, particularly with the manager. And what I mean by that is, at some point when the goals just aren't going in, like the chances come up and then you don't take the chances, at some point, does that get in your head? Thinking like, geez, when the hell is this goal going to go in? When's it going to go in? And I think that may have played a role here, because I completely agree with this on Sarr. He's barreling in on goal, and I'm just on the watch along. We were like, shoot it, just shoot it. Like that was the moment. And if he tries to go for a cutback there, it's not like it's a clear cutback to JP. There is a man right with him. So you just shoot it and create an opportunity where maybe you get a lucky rebound and somebody's barreling in on the back post. Like just something. And I think that was frustrating. Like this is the thing. You can't make mistakes of that sort. We were, I think, very well equipped to play against this City team today. I totally agree with you, D, that fatigue, not an excuse. You can't say that was an excuse today. We were well in it for long stretches of this match. But if you make mistakes of that degree, a team like that has both quality and experience is going to kill you. And that's what they did.
Yeah, that's what happened. What did you make of it? And I'll go to you for this. For the Sarr, not the Sarr penalty, it was the Mateta penalty decision with Donnarumma coming out. I think it was in the first half.
I didn't think that was I didn't think it was a pen. I don't think it was a pen, but Animal, you'd say here, because I saw that, and he does get, unlike Donnarumma does get a touch on the ball, And I think Dino has to get, I'm sorry, not Dino, but JP has to get up and get back in the match. And I didn't think that was even close to a pen, Animal. What'd you think?
It's really simple. Donnarumma got to the ball first. He got a touch on it, and that's why it wasn't a penalty. And I agree with that. And as opposed to Hendo's one, unfortunately, that was a penalty.
Yeah, it was a penalty, and we just got hit on a counter attack for the third goal, and he ended up scoring the penalty. But for the second goal, there was Walton that went in for a challenge. I can't remember who else it was as well. Do you think we could have defended a bit better for the Foden goal?
Yes, but I mean, that is another example where, like, I have a hard time criticizing this one, because what we did a lot during the game is try to get into doubling in the channels and really squeezing the ball and trying to win the ball in the channels. Warden mistimes it to win the ball, and so it does free up Foden. But the way Foden took that goal, D, I mean, yes, we could defend that better. But the thing that he does, Richards does get himself in position. But I have to say, I got to give Foden a little bit of credit, because as Richards comes out on him, he sets the ball and he just shoots it right by him and into that far corner. It's a really well taken goal. It sucks. It never should have got to that point. But once he's in that position, it's a really well taken goal. So again, like, you can't let a team of this quality punish you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is Man City at the end of the day. I think we're all forgetting that, okay, they may not have had the best of seasons. They may not be like the City from before, but it's still City. If they give them the chances, they're going to put it in the back of the net.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
They are, and we had our chances and we just didn't. And I think that's where most of the frustration comes from, because they are very good at attacking side and have been all season, to be fair. That's the reason why they are up there going for the title. I think defensively they haven't been, and we had opportunities today, but it was pretty much on us. Just quickly, where we are in the league table, Animal, we are 5th, which is very good. I think that's the main positive, even though we ended up losing 3-0 today. Leeds game is going to be big to try to remain there, because it seems like teams below us are sniffing for that top 5 slots. But what do you think of the current position of where we are in the Premier League?
I think it's great, and I think a lot more Palace fans need to look at the positives, not only in terms of the league in general, but in terms of players' performances on the pitch. I think everybody was way too centered on what Pino did wrong and weren't really concentrating on what Pino did well and the positive things that he did. He had some amazing moments where he created clear-cut chances. The ball over the top to Mateta, for example, was fantastic.
Wild. That was so good.
He put it on the penny. And for me, I have no problem with criticizing players. I criticized Ebbs last season. I criticized Mitchell for a while. I've even criticized Mark in the past about his leadership. But where it goes, a little bit too far for me is when people start saying things like last season, oh, Kamada should never wear a Palace shirt again. Pino is not ready. He's not up to the level of where we are. You must be deluded. We have had our best start to a season. Pino is a part of that, whether you want him to be or not. And I'm not entirely sure what what we're doing if we're rounding on players like this, and because it really frustrated me last season with Kamada, and I thought, this season Kamada's been at the end of last season, I thought Kamada was great. Maybe he's going to have a great season this season, but obviously we had to get rid of one folk hero in Ebbs, and now we've had to bring someone in, and so we've got the same situation where unfortunately Pino is an Eberechi Eze who can make something happen just like that, and actually Pino's a bit more of a system player, but Tyreek Mitchell is benefiting from having a different relationship with our left-sided 10, because Ebbs didn't always trust Mitchell to put a great ball in or utilize him in that final third of the pitch, whereas Pino does, and they've got a completely different dynamic, and they don't know each other like Ebbs and Ty did. So there are positives from having Pino a bit more of a system player and less of a can make something from nothing like Ebbs was, right?
Yeah.
So we need to stick with these players.
And I think just on that, D, you get the benefit of, because he plays in the system, he does. I think composure is the right word. You used the word composure before. Composure both defensively and in attack. Like, he has energy, he has endeavor, he challenges for the ball, he gets into space, he looks for the open man. He does a lot of things that the manager likes. What he doesn't do, and where he gets, like, you could see that with more experience he'll get better at this, especially in the English game, when he dives in and puts himself at risk, where he gets a yellow or he gives away a silly foul. That's a composure issue. That's not a quality issue. This is where I fundamentally agree with Animal about this. Please remember, this is a Champions League player. This is a guy that's played in the Champions League who's wearing a Palace shirt right now. But composure does matter, and that will come with experience. And Kamada, I mean, we should never again make the mistake that we made previously, where we gave up on JP too fast. We gave up on Kamada too fast. If we give up on this kid too fast, we're just repeating mistakes that we have made before. And I don't know why we would do that, because he has a lot of things going for him here. What I will say, though, is that as those players, you need to not just be composed, but you need to be able to be, like, this system requires, and this is what Glasner has told us. He's warned us about this. Like, when we recruit, why we need to recruit early. It requires a high degree of synchronicity, and he needs time for his players to be able to move at the speed he wants them to move, with a high degree of synchronicity. And we try a lot of stuff, and when it's not as precise, and it needs to be incredibly precise, then we give the ball away too quickly. We commit silly fouls. And
just to add on to that, Tim, I think a lot of what Pino does in rushing into the tackle is muscle memory from a different league.
Yeah,
right? And it takes time. It takes time to work that out of your habits, right? And to become a Premier League player in that respect. There are things that he does that are a little bit rash, and then from a league where he had a little bit more time, or he closed down a little bit quicker. It's a faster league, a more competitive league is the Premier League. I try not to say it's the best league in the world, because I live in Spain, and I get some people sort of raising an eyebrow too about that. So I say it's the most competitive league in the world, and that normally satisfies everybody.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what happens. And the thing I'm most looking forward to is, in a way, as much as I love watching us play in Europe, I'm looking forward to the Coops game just being done and dusted, and us having like a few months without any European games, because there's just so many games.
I know. Yeah,
there's so many games. It just feels like tomorrow, it's time to focus on Coops. Like, we don't have any breathing space. Like, there's no time to just be like, you know what? Okay, we lost against City. Let's just, enjoy time with your families, or just switch off for a bit. No, tomorrow we're back to it. Recovery. Then 2 days later, or 3 days later, we got another game in Europe, and then we got another game on Saturday. It's great watching Palace play, but I'm just imagining, like, if it's tiring at times for me to just catch up, like boom, 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 this many Palace games. I imagine for the players, like, you just mentally, it must be exhausting. Like, they just don't have any proper time. But I guess the positive is our last Conference League game in a league phase, and chance to get into the top 8, and also last Conference League game, Tim, for a while.
We hope.
Up until we'll see where we will be, but until March or Feb.
We hope. We've got to win that. We've got to win that match. We've got to close that out. And just, like, the good thing about the way this manager operates, we've had bad losses, and then almost immediately when we have a bad loss, the manager gets back to basics. We reset, and we either get a hard-won draw, or we get a win. In this case, we need a win. We need a win. We need to go for it. We need to finish it off, even if that means that you're going to have to make some sacrifices for Leeds. I do not want to make sacrifices for Leeds. I want to win this game. I want to win it early and then be ready for Leeds on the Saturday. But I will tell you, D, this is, I said this on the watch along, and I think I think a lot of people disagree with me. I want to beat Arsenal. I want to beat Arsenal. I want to go to the Emirates and play the strongest team that we can, because I believe this Palace side, like, what's frustrating to me about today, D, is like there is enough in this side to go after a team like City. And we did. We went after them today, and then we made too many mistakes and got beat. But that does not mean that City is here and Palace is here. What that means is you can't make those same mistakes, but we have enough to go at them. And you can't make the same mistakes. You got to be better. I know that, but there's enough. So I want to go to the Emirates. I want to have a go, and I want to be in the League Cup semifinal. I want to see Palace back at Wembley because I think we can get there. It's a big ask. It's a big ask.
Yeah, Glazer definitely sees it like that as well. Because, otherwise we could have played Leeds not on at 8 p.m. on a Saturday. But he decided to go with that option, so we have a bit more of a rest time ahead of the Arsenal game. He's definitely taking the Arsenal game seriously. And I don't know if anyone called the Arsenal game against Wolves. They weren't even that great.
They were terrible.
They were terrible.
No, they were terrible. Wolves scored 3 goals.
Yeah, I missed the game, but it was
ridiculous.
Score, did they?
It was ridiculous. The first goal that Arsenal gets, no joke. It is a deep corner that comes in, and it comes off of Sam Johnston's head and goes into the back of the goal. It was ridiculous. It was utterly ridiculous. No.
Yeah. Let's see.
To bring it back to Palace, like I think Glasner's always going to go for every win that he can get. He's going to be there for every competition. But I think personally, I take a little bit of a different view that if we are going to go try and get all the way in the Europa Conference League and still have a great season in the Premier League, I think that we do need to, sort of not forget about, the cup games like the Carabao, but it's not a priority for me personally.
I get it. I get that. It's totally makes sense, doesn't it?
Seriously. I think he'll be taking it seriously, though. I think Glasner will be taking it seriously. And I would love to be Arsenal to get to the semi-finals. I mean, it would be amazing. I know we haven't really spoke about the League Cup, but yeah, let's see. The thing that I'm more concerned about is not even just the Arsenal factor. It's just you get through that game. That's another 3 games a week, and then we got another 3 games a week coming up. But at least after Arsenal, we got 4 days off. Which is it feels like 6 weeks off at this point. 4 days off. What type of privilege is this?
I'll be watching the updates on Kamada because that's worrying, a little bit worrying. Yeah.
I'm going to read. I'll find the Glazer's comments and try and find an update on that as well. But look, Animal, great talking to you. Hopefully catch up with you again on Thursday.
Take it easy.
Keep safe, people. Come on, up the Palace.
Up the Palace. Come on. D, I can run if you want to get some other folks in here. It's up to you. I'll stick if you need me to.
Yeah. If you want to stay, you can feel free to stay. Let's bring on Alex, who's been waiting for a while. Alex, disappointing defeat today, 3-0 against City. What are your thoughts on it?
I refuse to be negative. I was for some reason negative last week about Mateta. And I felt really bad because then I saw Tim on and he was like nothing but positive. And I was like, I wish I had a do-over because I did feel really good about last week. I thought that we were great for parts of today. And I totally agree with you, D. It's feeling very boring, the part where we're not scoring goals. I, however, remember last year at this time, we had similar issues. We couldn't really figure out what our best, how we attack. Yeah. And today it was through Pino. It really was mostly through Pino. And once that kind of stopped, like then we didn't really present a chance after 2-0. But I thought most good things were happening through him and actually through the press on his side. I thought that I mean, City didn't have a shot in open play until the goal. So and I think that the shot that Foden gets is atrocious refereeing, where basically Chris Richards is just standing his ground and he literally gets penalized for having mass. He's just standing there, and Gonzalez runs right into him.
Yeah.
That's their only shot until the Haaland play. So I don't understand why people are saying that like we didn't come in with a good game plan or anything like that. I totally
Oh,
agree
yeah, I
with
would
the
disagree.
stuff where it's like the finishing may not be good enough, but I guarantee you put just about anybody out there, they're going to struggle to score goals in the Premier League. Case in point, Odson Edward. You to put him in League One, he's going to look incredible. He's a good finisher, and you put him in the Premier League, he has to wait that extra second, and then the shot's gone, or stuff like that. It's just it's not so linear, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's a very frustrating one. I don't. I thought that like especially Kamada was great today. I really enjoyed his play. Basically, was making the right pass every time. I'm interested to hear what they have to say in the days to come about that.
Yeah.
Like, it was a really tough landing that you took on that one, and they wanted to say that Gonzalez didn't even follow him. My ass, they didn't follow him.
Yeah, I thought Glasner done everything he can. I thought he coached to win. I think the responsibility drops on the players today. Do you agree?
Yeah, and let's be real though, D. Like, let's not present this as what the hell players. You know what I mean?
Mm,
They're second in the league for a reason. They took
mm.
two incredible takes for a goal. Like,
Yeah.
Holland, absolutely the perfect header. Somehow Dino almost makes a save on that, which would have been a miraculous save, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then just the interplay between Shirky and Foden on the second goal is great. The third goal is a shambles. It's terrible. It reminds me of the Everton at home game. That's the one that you were
That's when it
thinking
was.
of.
It was Everton. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Mm.
but yeah, so I don't see it as like he coached to win and the players failed. He coached a good game. It would have still been a tall task because they have better finishers than us, because they have 10 times our budget, that type of thing. But like, that's not a great excuse, obviously, because you could say that anytime we play the top six. It's just it shouldn't be an excuse, but I'm just saying that they do have better finishers. They just do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Actually, towards the end of the show, Tim, I actually do want to talk with you about the new. I don't know if you've heard of the new financial rules that's coming into play,
Yeah.
squad cost ratio, which we'll talk about, which negatively impacts Palace, and it's
Yeah.
going to be very interesting to see how we proceed with that. But we'll talk about that after we get through the guests. In terms of Thursday now, it's the finale in the league phase for the Conference League. We are right there and abouts. We're ninth. So one win, I think, will get us into the top 8. I think it should be enough with
Yeah.
our results.
I might be the only person that doesn't give a crap. I
How
don't.
come?
You don't think we could win this tournament in the playoffs? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
we
it
can,
might
but
make
we're
it
only like
harder,
1 minute
but
away
it's
from
not
2
going to
less
make it
games.
impossible. Like,
Yeah,
so I
it's 2
don't
less
care.
games.
Like, I think we're going to win, but I just like at this point, I'd rather us go whole hog into the Premier League, 2-footed into Leeds, and play, a good team against Cups. But like, if Glasner's saying that, I trust Glasner over anybody else's insecurities about not getting top 8. Because
Mm,
really, it's all about banner. Oh, you didn't get top 8. What a bunch of losers, Like,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we could be fine. We'd rather get top 8 because obviously that's a better break. We can wait
Sure.
until March instead of February, but I don't think Glasner cares, so I don't care.
Yeah, well, we'll see
I'm
what's
one of the only
lined up.
ones though, so
No,
I'm
I
okay with
agree. I think he cares, but I think he cares more about the Leeds game because, as you said, I think we got a decent chance for the playoff game. But it'll still be nice if we can get into the top 8.
Yeah.
Just for less games. So even with a rotated squad, you never know.
I think we win it with a rotated squad too, but like no
Yeah.
disrespect to Cups, it's going to be like a sloggy game, but hopefully
Yeah.
we'll nick a 1 or 2-0, and who cares about like the strife that we had after Larnaca. If we get top 8, it feels like water under the bridge.
Yeah. Let's see what happens with that. But Alex, great talking to you.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Take care. Thanks, Tim, for the good watch along.
No problem, man.
Yep.
All right,
Bye.
take it easy.
That was Alex having to say. If you haven't already done so, please do hit the like button if you are enjoying the stream. And if you do want to call in, you can do so by clicking on the link in the pinned comment. So yeah, feel free to do that. Let's bring on Nosa next. Nosa, 3-0 defeat today against City. What was your thoughts?
How you guys doing? Firstly,
doing all right, man.
Not bad.
That's good. The game
throwing me off with the MLB hat there. Throwing me off, man.
No, I was about to go out, but I just said I want to pop in to talk because I just want to say my little piece. I think it was a good game, for the first half, but I just feel like it's just the same old rhetoric. We're not being clinical. Even the games we're winning, we're not being clinical. And I think I don't know if it's a cause of concern, because if you want to really elevate to the next level, especially at this stage of the season where December to January, I think is quite important for points. That's where we had a turn of tide last season. We was winning games. When we had like that 9-game winless streak, around December, January period, we was winning games. And I think given the fact that we're very close on points with a lot of other teams, these are matches, because I felt like we could have got a draw today, in my opinion. But I'm not too disappointed. Like you said, Tim, Man City, they're the best of the best. Like they're the elites when it comes to this sport. So I'm just a bit disappointed with the nature of how we take our chances, the openings that we get. Like even in games where we've lost, like the Arsenal game as well. I know we didn't have that many chances, but we had openings. When we have openings, to me, that's a chance, because previous games or last season with limited openings, we still created goals, and that's what my issue is. I think the performance was amazing. The goals we conceded, the Haaland goal, what could we have done much out of that? I don't think we could have done anything out of the ordinary to fix that goal. The Dino goal, just unfortunate, and the Foden goal in that position. Foden he's automatic. Everyone knows that. Yeah. So I'm not too stressed about them scoring 3 goals. I'm just more concerned that we're not taking our chances no more. Like even in the Shelbourne game, we could have scored like 7 or 8 goals. Goals, and of course, footballers are going to make mistakes, but it's reoccurring now, and it's just. Do you guys think it's a cause of concern for us as fans, or just the team?
I mean, I think this is where I think the confidence thing is a potential issue, Nosa. Like, I think this team believes genuinely, because of Glasner, that they can beat anyone. But I think once the first or second, like as soon as Pino misses the first chance that he hits the woodwork, there's always that chance that it gets in your head and like, oh God, not again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that is something to be aware of. So that is more like confidence, very specific to the finishing. So it may be like, there's that recurring problem issue there. Having said that, the only way to fix that is to keep creating chances and keep shooting. The only issue I have is if you let that issue get in your head and you stop shooting and you start looking for, to pass it because I don't have the confidence to take on this shot, so I'm going to pass it to my teammate and let them do it. You can't do that. You have to just keep shooting, right? So I think that's the only issue for me, D.
Yeah. It's just, we've been here, we've spoke about it so many times. That's the main frustrating part about it. I mean, I genuinely don't know how you fixed it, apart from just taking a chance of scoring goals. And we have scored, goals as well. It's not like we haven't been clinical all season long, but there have been too many games, it feels like anyways, of the ones like we saw today. And what do you do if you're Oliver Glasner? I can't. He coached that game perfectly. I think he ended the game with high XG. We matched them defensively. I thought it was actually defensively. Then again, I mean, we had chances. I know we conceded 3 goals. That's what I mean by matching them defensively. It's not like they've done anything great defensively. We had our chances. We just didn't score them, and we were and they were clinical. I think that's the difference. And I don't know what you do. I genuinely don't know what you do if you're Oliver Glasner. Do you think it's a talent issue, or do you think it's a confidence issue? No, sir.
No, I don't think it's a talent issue. I think we've got enough quality players. You know, most of our players have played in higher stages. We've got the likes of SARS he's won at AFCON. Pino's played in the Champions League. You know, Dino, he played for Man United when they were in the Champions League. So Kamada's won. I believe he won the Europa League with Glasner, right? Or was that with someone else?
Yeah. Europa League with Glasner.
They played at top stages. Gehi's been in a Euros final. It's not. These are elite players. 1% of 1%. That's just how I look at them. So there's no reason as to why we can't be. We're in fifth for a reason. We're in the fifth spots for a reason. So I just think we're probably just going through a little period, but the period is a bit elongated now, don't you think? So
yeah.
And
I don't think it's a coincidence with European football. I'm not blaming fatigue today for it, but I think there's mental element as well. It's just so many games, and so, like, they just don't have any time to switch off.
We've only won one game after playing in Europe, which is a bit.
Have we even won a game? I don't think we won a game. Have we won a game?
Villa. That was the qualifier, though. It was a
qualifier. Oh, qualifier. Yeah. Exactly. So, funny enough, I was a bit more confident today because I did think the key players were rested, apart from the back three.
I was thinking, now we can't. Even if we lost, like, I don't mind that we lost, but it's just the fact that we didn't even score a goal when we've had.
Yeah, we should have.
Yeah.
We should have scored a goal.
Yeah,
that's the thing, and that's why I didn't really think about us not being clinical, because as I've said, we have had games where we have been clinical. It hasn't been terrible all season long, but we've had quite a few games like this one as well. And I just thought maybe this could be it, finally win after Europe. And where we started the game, where we create chances, like, okay, cool. Maybe we're going to take one of those. Then boom, Haaland header. And then afterwards, I was like, yeah, it just seems like a repeat of what we've seen at Selhurst Park, especially anyways. But just quickly looking ahead to Thursday, it's going to be interesting to see what he does, because he did mention that he won't be playing the same starting 11 in the Leeds and also the Coops game. For you, are you with Alex in terms of you're not really that fussed about getting to the top 8 and you're fine with playoff game, or do you think you should focus entirely on Thursday?
Let's get in the top 8, man. I'm not here for just players playing unnecessary minutes. That's 180 minutes potentially. It could be longer because it's a knockout phase game, right? So 180 minutes potentially plus more. If God forbid we draw a game and then it goes to extra time, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we don't want that for our players. And majority of the time it's probably going to be like a team that we know we're going to beat. It's just all the additional logistics of having the game is just all long. I don't think is necessary. Like, just play a balanced team. Of course, you can play like the squad players, like your Devanese and so forth, but I just think we need to win that game against Coop, by all means. And then Leeds, I just want to beat Leeds. I don't want them to think they've got hope just surviving the relegation. Just beat them relentlessly. I'm just like, I don't want them to think they're on the same level as us. It's just, I don't want them to think.
Leeds game is going to be big.
Burnley was getting excited for a minute the other day. They was actually getting excited.
I know. We have to beat Leeds, because I mean, where we are right now, it is very good, and thankfully, that Fulham game did give us that bit of space to potentially lose this game and still be in a good position. I mean, we're still even if we lost the next 2 games, we're still in a very good position.
Can I ask you guys both something quickly on the Coops game, because you mentioned this, Nosa. I'm with you. I want to finish top 8 also, but I feel like the importance of the Coops game more than anything else is to get the players who are on the fringes minutes that lead to a win. Like for Uche, I want Uche to start that game, get some goals again, and start like it. There's something that happens to a player when they start getting good minutes, good performances, goals. The confidence starts bleeding in. Even if it's Coops, I don't even care. I just want a player like that to start feeling they can influence this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think he will give. I would be surprised if Mateta starts the Coops game. I would be surprised.
Same.
Let's see how he approaches it. But I reckon Uche will be given the start. And by the way, rotating doesn't necessarily mean that it equals defeat. We still have good enough players. Right. But Coops will be up for this game. They're trying to get 100%. Into the playoff spots. So they'll be up for this game. And maybe...
What are Coops Dutch? Are they Dutch?
I know, Finnish. I think. Finland. Yeah. So, they'll be up for the game. And saying that, they might decide to attack us if they do, spacing behind. So I'm not that worried. Even if we don't play our strongest 11, I think we still got a good enough team to go win. You know, these are Premier League footballers. Let's not forget that. Even the players that are not playing, they're meant to be good enough to help us in the Premier League. So we should be fine in that regards. But no, sir, great having you on, bro. I know you're busy, so we'll
Good to
let
see
you
you.
go. Enjoy your evening.
Likewise. Have a nice week, guys.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
If you haven't already done so, please do hit the like button. And also, if you do want to call in, you can do so by clicking on the link. Let's bring on another American, Tim. It's Tim and Tim. Long
Good
time,
to see you,
Tim.
Hey, nice to see you too. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the echo. I'm in a church basement. I'm just about to go sing in a choir, but I did want to just make a quick comment. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm kind of been very interested in what Glasner would do if we just had Pino, Sarr, and Kedia as our top three. He brought in Uche. He has a kind of style, I believe, where we have to have a holding player. Uche filled in for Mateta. What do you think Glasner would do if we did not have a holding number 10? Am I saying that right? Is it a question clear?
Yeah. So in terms of so if it was a case of Sarr, so no Uche and Mateta up front.
Right,
So
exactly.
Right, yeah.
And I love them as players. I'm just wondering philosophically how Palace would look differently if we just had those three.
Well, I don't think we have played those three together because Sarr hasn't played up front that many games, but it means that Sarr's playing up front, which I guess the difference would be that he is faster than JP and Uche, but physically will lose out.
Right.
But he's still tall, so he can still be a problem for the defenders. But I'm not too sure how much of an impact. I think it depends on opposition and how they're set up, but I'm not too sure how much of an impact it will have by having Sarr up front rather than as a number 10 position. What do you think, Tim?
Well, see, what's interesting about that is right now we depend on the wing backs for the width and to run in behind. And what you are talking about is a front three where you are dependent. You really are going over the top. Then you are betting that you're going to get runs in behind.
Yeah,
probably from both, and I mean, really from all three of them. So the wing back. I guess the wingback role would be a little bit different. You know, instead of the wingbacks, you know, running into the channel to receive the ball and cross it in, like you would, if you have a traditional setup like what we've been doing with Mateta and arguably with the Uche. Mateta gets the ball and then sprays it out either side to the wingback, and then we just run into the box so we can get a delivery into the box and hopefully get a goal out of it. That's just a little bit different. I don't know that that's something that Glasner necessarily wants to do, but I mean, could you do it? Like, would you be a threat over the top? I mean, it would probably push, I guess it depends, like what D said, it pushes your opposition defenders maybe back 3 to 5 yards, maybe pushes them back 3 to 5 yards. And that like the benefit of that. So if you were to really play that out a little bit more, Tim, if you've got more space in the middle and you've got Kamada and you've got Wharton, then are we more dangerous? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. It's you can't really know that for sure, but you definitely do want more space in the middle. So there is that.
Yeah.
I think it might be interesting to try that against Finland because they're already, they're anticipating our traditional play. And what if we just threw that in, at halftime or whatever, they would have no preparation time.
Sarr's not available though. Sorry to cut you off. Sarr's not available from here onwards.
Yeah, because it's got AFCON.
Yeah. So that's a dilemma. Sarr's back. Sarr's gone back to. He's gonna go to Senegal. So.
I gotta go sing. Thanks, guys. I love
Good to
the
see you, Tim.
No worries, Tim. Take care.
Bye.
That was Tim having a say. But yeah, Sarr's going to be going to the AFCON, so that's not going to be available for us anyways going ahead. And just quickly, I was listening to the Tifo podcast. We spoke enough about the game. I think we could have ended the show within 2 minutes. Missed chances, subs. I don't think they were right. Personally, I don't think it helped us and Kita going up front, and they were more clinical. Simple as we weren't the worst team. I think we were the better team out of the two, but we just depending on how you view it, but just not clinical in front of goal.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've. I was listening to the Tifo Football Podcast. If you don't listen to and want a general football podcast, make sure to check them out. And they were speaking about the new Premier League rules that's coming into play.
Yeah,
with
squad cost
Palace.
ratio.
Yeah, Palace voted against it, and
Yep.
funny enough, they used Palace as an example in terms of why Palace voted against it. But from what I can gather, Tim, and this is where it's going to get real interesting, even with the new stand getting built. I don't know if you've seen it. It seems like Goldman Sachs have got the approval for the
Yep.
financing, and they're going to be financing the new stand. The squad cost ratio for clubs like Palace, Brighton, and other clubs that were very good in terms of when it comes to PSR and looking at the profit margins, is going to do the opposite, because I
Yep.
don't understand the purpose of it. I really don't. I don't understand the benefit, because the PSR, at least you measure, the profitability of a club. This
Yeah.
one, it's all about revenue, and this is
Yeah.
where things get tricky, because there's only so much you can do in the short term when it comes to revenue in equation to spending.
Right.
And that's with stadium expansion, which is not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And the only thing that this really pushes us towards is to become more selling, because that's another way of generating revenue that's going to be
That's
included
right.
in the squad cost ratio element.
That's right. Yep.
And this is looking, I don't know how we're going to navigate through this, Tim, but it is looking a bit of a problem for Palace. We didn't really take advantage of being very good in the PSR levels and spending a bit more maybe when it comes to PSR. But this season we had also the UEFA cap that we had to look at as well and try to navigate through. But in previous seasons we didn't take advantage of it, and now it's gone against us with the squad cost ratio taking over PSR.
So, all right, let's explain what this is. First off, just a quickie on what this is. So, squad cost ratio means if you are in Europe, you can spend up to 70% of total turnover, adjusted for, like you said, D, transfers, transfer profit. You get some credits for things like academy development, women's football. There are adjustments, there are things like that. But overall, 70% of your total revenue you get to spend, adjusted for things like transfer profits. And I believe there is some set aside for, like, if an owner wants to put in like maybe some debt, or if they want to purchase equity, that does not count against you either. But you have to kind of fit into that level. It can't be above what you make. You can't spend more than 70% of what you make, adjusted for some things like, for example, player sales. So there's that. The benefit of it, and I'm not sure I would call it a benefit, but the reason for it, D, is because it matches up with UEFA. That's the reason for it. You are going to have to, if you're in Europe, you're going to have to make this anyway. And so you bring the UEFA rules into the Premier League. So why does it suck for Palace? Why did Brighton vote against it? Palace vote against it? Brentford, Leeds, like all of these ambitious
I don't think
clubs.
Leeds did.
No, they did. They voted against it.
Okay, Leeds did, but
Yeah,
I think
they did.
Burnley didn't. Was it Burnley? What's the clubs that voted? I'm going to find out. But it was a bit interesting because some of the clubs voted against it. No, voted for it, because I think what they're really banking on is that this may help us in the long term rather than the short term, where if we do grow into the club that we aspire to be, then this will be beneficial for us rather than it helping the clubs in the short term. But
I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example of a club that should have voted against it, but didn't, because they are dependent upon an owner that's just going to dump cash on them continually. Forest. Forest did not vote against it. They should have, because they're in a similar position, but they didn't. They didn't vote against it, which is stupid, but whatever. They decided to go with. So the big teams that can generate commercial revenue, that can generate match day revenue, that already have a big budget because they can generate revenue outside of, just, what they win with TV income. And Palace is so dependent on TV income. They get a bigger leg up. That's why Palace voted against this. So it stinks. It's not great for us. And it does turn us into more of a selling club. Now, there is good news here. Steve Parish saw this coming, and he has been managing the club to a below 70% threshold for a couple seasons now. He's seen this coming, and so Palace has been roughly already in line. So even before we won the FA Cup, we were already like under that threshold. And so we're in reasonable shape here, but it is going to mean we're going to sell more, and that really stinks. We can probably compete here. What's going to be important if we're going to continue to progress forward while we wait for the main stand to get built is owner investment and academy sales. I hate to say that, but we're going to need like some academy
this is where
sales.
it gets messy. This is where it gets messy. I mean, we'll see how much Harrison Blitzer want to put more money forward, but the club needs to grow. Now you're basically telling the clubs, for these football clubs, they need to grow. You need to expand your stadium and you need to do a faster rate if you want to be competitive, because we can't compete with United or City and all these other clubs that get lots of commercial lots of commercial revenue. So this is why clubs like Palace, Fulham, Brentford, Bournemouth, and Leeds have voted against it. However, there's some clubs there, as you mentioned, Forest, which is what I was going towards, where you might not help them right now, but they are willing to put money in, and that's why they're like, "Cool, let's vote for it. Let's make a money game." But all that is benefiting is the big clubs who already have all of these
1,000,000%.
So
1,000,000%.
So exactly. So I don't understand having any rules at this point, because it's just limiting the clubs like Palace and the Brightons and those that are stuck in the mid-table.
Yeah.
Around that side of the Premier League, and it's just creating a bigger gap for the bigger clubs. Whereas PSR, at least if you were well run, and the problem with PSR was for the bigger clubs why they never liked it is because football clubs operate on tight margins anyways, and for the bigger clubs, they were basically there and about. So like for clubs like Palace, for example, we had that navigation. With how much with PSR, we had the opportunity to spend a bit more, and bigger clubs, they had to sell players. You saw Chelsea, of course, selling hotels and this, that,
I know, right? Like the worst.
But now this is amazing. This is amazing. This is like
100%.
Cool, let's go get a sponsor. Well, I mean, we're Chelsea. Let's get a front of shirt sponsor now. Well, I don't know. I'm just making up numbers in my head. 20 million a year or something. Let's just go and do that. Let's get it now. Now we can actually spend more money. It's not about looking at the profitability of a football club. It's more about you can bring revenue. Revenue. I don't understand the measurement of revenue in this thing, because it's like it's just money. Like the expenses are not really considered, are they?
No, they are. That but you are right. You are right. So think of it this way, D. The more you can earn, the more you can spend. And that's the rational argument on the other end. Like a Man United fan will say, like, well, look, you want to spend, you got to make more. Like, that's so easy for you muppet, to say. But, like, we don't have the big stadium that you have. And we don't have, the same commercial appeal that you have. And so PSR was imperfect, but what it did is it created at least a baseline that everybody had to apply to. Now the yardstick is relative for every team. So 70% if you're in Europe of what you earn. So the more that you earn, it just creates the thing that I hate about it, D, is that it forces Palace to be even more of a business, and what we want is a football club. I don't really care ultimately. Like, I do want Palace to be successful as a business. Of course, I want it to be solvent. But what I want is like a great football club. I don't really care if they have unbelievable business performance. Oh, you muted yourself.
I don't know if you can. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
now?
I can hear you.
Okay. First thing that came into my head now is we're measuring this from revenues. Then another way that you can increase your revenues by increasing the ticket prices. So I wonder how much of a fall that's gonna be an option for Palace maybe next season when it comes to season tickets. How much of an increase that's going to be on match day tickets, and not only just Palace, but some of these other bigger clubs. It gives them excuses. Oh wait, hold up, we need to generate more money. Simple. Let's charge it to the fans. Like
it's hard, right? Like that fear is justified. D. That fear is very justified.
And this way it's going to get interesting because we already knew that Premier League was like a money game, right? It's like the richest. There's like billionaires around the world that own it, and they just want to get one over each other. Yeah. With Harrison Blitz, I'm not saying they don't invest. They have clearly invested into the football club, but are they willing to compete in this battlefield now? It is going to feel like a field where it's going to be like cool. You know, Marinakis, for example, the reason why he liked this is because he's saying, cool, I do want to compete, and this is nice for us because I want to expand the stadium. I want to do this and that.
Yeah.
With us, you now have to look at the owners and saying Parish clearly doesn't have the money to put back into the football club to grow it to that level where now the commercially we're, competing with the top clubs, even with the stadium.
That's true. That's true.
But now Woody Johnson, Harrison Blitzer, this is a field where you're going to be entering, where you're going to have to invest. You're going to have to put your own money into the football club to try and grow the football club. And I don't know how quickly you can grow the football club anyways. These things take time. But
that's true.
You're going to need the intention anyways now.
Yeah. No, that's true. And it remains to be seen how much they are willing to invest. But up to this point, if you haven't read the Athletic interview with Steve, I recommend it. He sat down with Matt Woosnam. It was quite good. And he said two things related to this that I think are important. The first is that two things. One's a strategy and something else that is like a positive update that I think we've got some evidence that this positive update is real. He said the first is we now have ownership that is willing to invest in infrastructure. In other words, what he's saying is that Textor, for all his bluster, was not ready to invest in the main stand, but Woody Johnson is. And so that's the implication of that quote, which I think is great. The second is we did go to Goldman Sachs. We did get 168 million in capital. That does seem to be a bit more targeted towards the main stand, but may also be, hopefully, some of it set aside for January, because we're going to need to compete in January. We do need to do that. And I'll come back to January in a second, because there is something important about January and why we might want to be a little bit more optimistic as fans about what we'll see in January. But that thing is one thing. The other thing he said, which is both really mad, it just pisses me off even more with UEFA. But what he said was, if you're going to have these highly restrictive rules for us as a mid-table club, maybe we need to go and buy a team, like become a multi-club model and buy a team in a market that doesn't have these restrictions, that allows us to actually get a bit of leverage. And it's a way for us to maybe not get around the rules, but maybe get some advantages that we presently don't get because we're going to be hamstrung by these rules. So that's just things to consider. One thing on January, D, and I think because of that money that's coming in, and because squad cost ratio doesn't come in until next season, it is possible, I'm not saying it's likely, but it is possible that the ownership plus Parish look at this and say, we're going to get screwed in the summer. Let's while we are under the rules as they exist today, let's go for it, because we're going to get screwed come the start of next season. So let's not wait for the start of next season. Let's do what we can right now under the rules as we have them, because that's not going to matter. As of right now, we can do some things. Let's do them, and then get ready for the summer. Now, you'd be taking some risk, and your summer recruitment might not be as great as you want. But hell, man, we're in 5th right now, D. I don't have a problem with that if we choose to say, like, let's go for it in January and do what we can. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's not now, then it's going to be. We'll see the situation in summer, but the annoying thing is, it's basically encouraging the smaller clubs that can't generate the revenues as highly as the big 6 clubs to essentially sell to. be in a nice little margin, which
Yeah.
which is frustrating. Of course, that's why none of the Big Six teams voted against it. They loved it.
Oh, they absolutely do.
They loved it.
It's designed for the Super Six. It's designed for the Super Six for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know how we're going to navigate through it, but I'm pretty sure work they must have started thinking about it behind the scenes in terms of how to approach it, even for next summer.
Steve's been thinking about this for years, D. Steve has been planning for this for years. I mean, just remember of the latest accounts we had as a percentage, the squad cost, meaning the wage bill as a percentage of turnover has been under 60%. So he's been thinking about this for a while. And it's why when you have that with transfer profit, you can stay under that squad cost ratio. The thing that the smaller clubs wanted, and maybe we can end on this, is they wanted a feature that the big clubs roundly voted down, and it would have made this a lot better for Palace, is if you had the squad cost ratio and something else also called anchoring, meaning that, and the players didn't want this either because it creates kind of a salary cap. If you have a squad cost ratio of 70%, and at the bottom you are anchored to your maximum spending is somewhere between 3 and 5x the turnover of the bottom club in the league, then everybody everybody is still even though it's variable, nobody can get way too far out ahead of anybody else because you're anchored to the bottom team. That got voted down significantly.
There's a new rule as well, which I forgot the name of it, but it's basically pointless. It's the Premier League essentially what they want to do is tell the government that we don't need regulation. Like we can.
That ain't gonna work, by the way. That ain't gonna work. The independent regulators coming in.
That's coming in. But I forgot. There's another thing that they approved, but it basically has no impact. There's no sanctions towards it. It's a pretty pointless one. And this one, I think they have changed rules where we've seen with PSR, it can, you can get points deduction years after, and it hurts team a while after it's done. I think now everything needs to be done within the same time frame. So in terms of points deductions and sanctions, so it's not like if Palace break the rules, we won't be penalized. Let's say in 2028 if we're wherever we are in 2028 and get points deduction. It has to happen in the same season.
I just want to highlight this though. Dem's got it right. Turning competitive clubs into selling clubs is deliberate. I think that I know that there are going to be powers that be that say, no, this is just to comply with UEFA regulations. Sorry, pardon me, but bullshit. Dem is right. That is exactly what's happening here. Anything they can do to limit ambitious clubs, the big clubs want it. That is absolutely the case. Dem is spot on about this. So what we can do about it, the main stand, we got to get that built. You're going to have to get better at selling players out of the academy. You're going to have to get better. Just going to have to get better at player trading. It's going to be hard, but I mean, I would argue that this is a moment that is made for an owner like Steve Parish, who understands the limits of what he's up against. And whenever he's had his back against the wall, when things are stacked against you, he has done a very good job of finding ways to navigate around that. It's the opposite when it feels like clear sailing and we should be foot on the gas. He's reticent to put foot on the gas. But when the walls are closing in on us, that guy has been arguably the best owner in the league.
Let's see what we do from here going forward. It's going to be a different approach that we're going to have to take from our ownership perspective in terms of to grow the football club. And the new stand is getting started hopefully in January. That's what
they said. Yep.
But it's not like it's going to get built in a day. So the thing is that needs to get built, which will take a few years, I guess. and then that will definitely help. But then it's like you want to grow more. So this took how long? So what about the other stands?
Yeah.
Well, how do you grow that? And I don't know if Parish is willing to go and deal with the headache of that, because I remember once he made a comment to say basically, I'm going to build this. The other one, I don't know. It's not really my problem. Like we can't lag behind. Like still we got opportunity with the family stand, the White Horse Lane stand, where it's not big at all, but there's houses behind it. There's Sainsbury's. It won't be cheap. It won't be cheap to build, but there's an opportunity there. The opposite, Arthur Waite, that could definitely get built. Holmesdale is already, we already got 2 stands, so that's fine. But yeah, this can encourage, I guess, the ownership more to find ways to become competitive. But are they going to be willing to put their money forward and
I
develop
hope
those
so.
stands?
I hope so. I mean, Twisted, the answer to this is the reason that don't get it wrong. The reason the Big Six do not like that PSR has made, to some degree, these mid-table clubs that know how to manage financially, Brighton, Palace, Brentford, clubs like that. The Big Six do not like that. And so the reason the Prem is so competitive is the reason we're seeing this sort of thing. That's why. I think. I don't think it's wrong to say that. I don't think that's conspiratorial to say that. They don't like it. They don't want to see, nobody at that level wants to see Villa challenging in the title race right now. I love it, but there's a lot of Man United fans, Liverpool fans, they don't want to see that. They don't want to see that.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm pretty sure we'll have some spare time in the summer to go over it.
Yeah.
As well. So yeah, that's it from us. If you have enjoyed the show, and if you do want to hear Man City talk and just join us now, go to the start of the show. We do talk about City. So yeah, there was a very good guest as well calling in today. If you have enjoyed this, like, subscribe. We'll be back most likely tomorrow for the player ratings. And until then, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.